I'm about to read a section in my book that I kept hidden for a long time. Not because it was shocking, because, it was just honest. This is where alopecia didn't just take my hair, it tried to take my name. If this is your first week and you've just been diagnosed, or it's your first year pretending, you're fine. Just stay with me. The last paragraph is where everything starts to shift. All right, so there's three kinds of people that's watching this right now. Either you're newly diagnosed, you've been following me for some time now, or you just love real stories. Wherever you are emotionally right now, this is the right place to be watching this. All right. So I just need you to do one thing. I'm asking you one favor. If you don't mind just commenting where you at right now. Are you feeling numb, angry? Are you scared? Are you hopeful? Or are you just curious? Write it in the comments below. So before I begin reading, I want to paint a picture and I want you to see alopecia through this lens. Alopecia can be a turning point, not just a tragedy. All right, I'm going to repeat that. So alopecia, it can be a moment in your life that's a change point, and not a moment in your life that's a tragedy. And I'm not saying that because alopecia doesn't hurt, because alopecia hurts, man. I remember looking in the mirror and seeing my first bald spot, and I was in disbelief, man. I thought my barber messed up, and then after a week went by, and I noticed the bald spot still there and getting bigger, and it hurts. So I understand and I get you. It does hurt, but imagine this: alopecia can change what you believe you're allowed to be. Let that sink in for a minute. All right, so quick pause. Everything that I'm going to share with you today is from my book, Hairless but Fearless. It's not a textbook, it's not a self help manual, it's my real story, okay? It's written for a person that's sitting in a dark room at 2 a.m. wondering if they'll be okay. All right, I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'm going to put a QR code somewhere on the bottom of this video. All right, let's get back into it. Physical education classes became a special kind of torture. The locker room, with its harsh lighting and multiple angles, felt like a gauntlet. I changed as quickly as possible, keeping my head down, praying that no one would notice. Swimming, once a favorite activity, was now out the question. The thought of exposing my scalp to the world was unbearable. At night, lying in bed, I'd run through scenarios in my head. What if it kept spreading? What if I lost all my hair? The thought was almost too much to bear. I'd always been the tall kid or the quiet one, but never the bald guy. The prospect of that becoming my identity terrified me. So I just read a section from chapter 1 of my book. And if you felt something just now, that's not a weakness. That's the shock of impact and not the verdict of your future. All right, so let's make a shift. We actually going to do 3 shifts. We're going to shift our mindset from feeling like a victim to feeling victorious. And the first shift we're going to discuss is, how are we going to go from what did I lose to what's being revealed? Alopecia exposes how we are to feel inside. So it exposes how much of our identity is tied to our outward appearance or what other people feel about us. I remember as a kid growing up, I have Indian in my family, and I took on some of those attributes. So as far as my hair, I had Indian hair, and being an African American with Indian type hair, you get a lot of attention. So a lot of people in my family and my friends will always touch my hair and say how silky the hair is. And in the black culture, they call it good hair, when all hair in the black culture is good hair. And when I started losing it, that was that, I lost my hair and I stole a piece of my identity. And I was being praised by people on the outward, but I really, what God was doing and what God allowed to happen for me to really focus on what was happening in me and the value that I have in me, the intrinsic value that I had in me. All right. So shift number 2 is from I have to hide to I can choose to show up. So a lot of times we have our own things that we used to hide. Some people use wigs, some people use hats. I'm wearing a hat right now. I don't have to, but I just feel like wearing a hat today. But when I was transitioning in my alopecia, the do-rag was my thing. Like I had do-rags in every color. Like if had one on today, it would be white. I have a white do-rag on and I had all the different colors. But something happened. I was rushing to go to work and I left my do-rag at home. And I rushed and I was already like on my way to the bus stop and I couldn't turn back or else I would have been late. So I was forced into a situation where I just had to show myself. I had to choose how I showed up. And it was forcefully chosen. It was chosen for me. God chose it for me. So that way I can break through. But there's going to be a point where you're going to have to make a decision am I going to continue to hide, or am I going to show who I really am and show your authentic self? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to borrow my confidence for the next 48 hours and until it becomes your own. The third shift is from why me to what now. This is what I was talking about earlier, from changing your mindset from being a victim, why me, to becoming a victor. What now? How am I going to take this and use this as an opportunity? Why is a trap and what now is a bridge? Okay, so now here's a 48-hour plan for you. For the first 6 hours, you just need to stabilize your body, drink a lot of water, make sure you eat, shower, go outside, get some sunlight, breathe in with me for 4 seconds. You hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 6 seconds. Do that 3 times just to stabilize your body and to calm yourself down, because we tend to just get anxious about things that happen to us. I mean, that's the human and that's your physical um, reaction. So you just have to learn how to subject your body and just realize that everything is okay. All right. And from hours 6 to 24, you want to name the fear. You want to write it down. That's how you get it out of your mind. You write it down. You say, I am afraid of blank. Even if this happens, I will blank. Right. So you that'll be your 2 sentence plan, if you will, within the first 6 to 24 hours. Within the 24 to 48 hours, this is where you need to look for some support. You have to tell a safe person. For me, I waited almost a month before I even told anyone. I mean, even my own mom, because I thought initially that my barber kind of messed up. But then when I realized it was a serious problem, and when one patch turned into two and then the patch started getting bigger, that's when I brought it to my mom. But I held that in for so long that it was a detriment to me. It caused me a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress on myself. But when you talk to somebody, then it kind of relieves that. And then you can have someone to kind of pat you on the back and lift you up, right? So that could be a person. I mean, that could be a community. It could be within a book. You can read a book or some kind of medical terms. It could be a doctor, or you could just take photos of yourself and analyze the photos and something that reflects what's going on with you from through something else, through a person, through a community, or through a book, or through photos. So it took me time to realize this, that alopecia didn't happen to me. It actually happened for me. And I know it's hard for someone that's newly diagnosed to even fathom this right now, but God allows things to happen to you for a purpose. If I didn't go through alopecia, I wouldn't be talking to you today, and I won't be able to pour into you today. So it turned into my purpose to help others that are experiencing alopecia. I'm not grateful for the pain it caused. I'm going to be honest about that, especially during the early days where I was hiding under do-rags and didn't like what I saw in the mirror. But it allowed me to realize that beauty, true beauty, is on the inside. There's a lot of people that we look at in the world that looks beautiful on the outside, but inside they're miserable and they're horrible people. But alopecia allowed me to realize, let's look beyond the physical. Although I feel physically like I'm top tier, but I'm just saying it allowed me to look internally into myself and realize that, man, you're beautiful and you have something to give to others. I'm going to close with this. Alopecia tried to take my identity. It didn't. It just took my hair. It took my comfort zone. It took the version of me that needed everyone's approval to walk into a room. But it didn't take me. You're still you. The foundation is still there. And I need you to do 3 things. I need you to hit that subscribe button because I make videos like this every week. I need you to hit the like so someone like you can find this video as well. And I also need you to share it to somebody I think you know. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.